You lie down on bare ground. No mattress, no pillow, no blanket. Just dirt, rocks pressed into your spine, and the cold slowly pulling the heat out of your body. Somewhere nearby, something with teeth is awake right now, and you're about to close your eyes anyway. This isn't a nightmare. This was every single night for your ancestors, for hundreds of thousands of years, long before anyone invented a bed. So how did early humans survive the most vulnerable moment of their entire day? The moment they went completely unconscious in a world built to kill them? The answer isn't just they slept on the ground. That's like saying humans crossed oceans by getting wet. The real story is far more resourceful than that. Before any of this, our ancestors had to solve one basic problem. Where do you even put an unconscious body?
For millions of years, the safest answer was up. Many apes today still build sleeping nests in trees, bending branches into a bowl shape and layering leaves on top. Real engineering, just performed by the same animal that's about to sleep in it. Height kept our early relatives away from ground predators, biting insects, and the kind of glowing eyes you really don't want to see at midnight. But as our ancestors grew larger and became better walkers than climbers, sleeping in trees stopped making sense. A heavy, two-legged body balanced on a branch isn't graceful. It's an accident waiting to happen. So they came back down to the ground, and that created a brutal trade-off. The ground was easier to reach, easier to gather on, better for groups. It was also exactly where the lions lived. To make sleeping on the ground survivable, early humans needed more than courage. They needed real tools, cooperation, and a skill we still use every single night without thinking about it, turning a dangerous environment into a small, controlled bubble of safety. Fire was probably the single biggest shift. A maintained fire gave warmth, light, and smoke, and most predators prefer their meals without an audience of flames watching. Fire also stretched the day past sunset, giving groups time to eat together, fix tools, care for children, and figure out who heard that rustling noise in the dark. Where you slept mattered too. A rock overhang blocked wind and rain. A dry, slightly raised patch of ground kept you from turning into part of the local drainage system overnight. Even with no walls at all, location itself became a kind of architecture. Group size mattered just as much. Sleeping near other people meant more ears, more noses, more chances someone would wake up before a leopard finished its evening plans. And here's something people don't expect. Humans naturally have different sleep rhythms. Some people stay up later, some wake earlier. In a small camp, that natural variation may have meant there was almost always somebody lightly awake, watching, without anyone assigning a night shift on purpose. It wasn't a schedule, it was biology quietly doing useful work. Once fire, group living, and safer campsites made ground sleeping possible, comfort became the next project. Early humans picked dry spots, avoided open wind, and gathered soft plants to sleep on. The very first bed wasn't a piece of furniture at all. It was a strategy. And it likely started the same way most human inventions start. Someone got tired of being uncomfortable and started rearranging plants.
Bare ground steals your body heat, holds moisture, attracts insects, and hides rocks in exactly the wrong spots beneath your spine. You don't need to understand thermodynamics to notice that a thick layer of dry grass feels warmer than dirt. Leaves added softness. Reeds let air move through. Animal hides blocked wind and cut contact with the cold ground below. Nobody had to invent comfort from nothing. They only had to notice it, the same way birds build nests and apes arrange sleeping platforms. Humans already came from a long line of animals that rearranged plants before bedtime. The tree nest simply moved to the floor. But ground bedding had one serious flaw. It got disgusting fast. A pile of grass slept on night after night collects sweat, food scraps, shed skin, and insects. And fleas don't see that as a hygiene problem.
they see it as prime real estate.
Why early bedding was temporary, replaced often, or simply burned. Old bedding could be swept aside or set on fire, which cleared out waste, killed off parasites, and left behind ash, which bugs like far less than damp plant matter. Smoke likely helped too. It's unpleasant for you to breathe, but it's worse for a mosquito. Early humans didn't need to understand insect biology. They only needed to notice that sleeping near certain strong-smelling plants meant less scratching at 2 in the morning. This is where bedding stops looking like a lucky accident and starts looking like accumulated knowledge. One person notices dry grass is softer. Someone else learns green branches smoke too much to bother with. A third person discovers a certain leaf keeps insects away. These small observations get remembered, copied, and taught, generation after generation, until a sleeping spot becomes something genuinely constructed.
Dry ground underneath, plant layers on top, fire nearby. People sleeping close around the edges. Maybe a hide pulled over the body when it got cold. It still looked nothing like a modern bedroom. No privacy, no silence, no rule against eating where you slept. But the basic principle was already there. Before lying down, humans prepared the space beneath them first. Grass doesn't usually survive 200,000 years. It rots, burns, gets trampled to dust, or gets eaten by something with zero respect for future archaeologists. Which is exactly what makes Border Cave remarkable. Sitting on the border of South Africa and Eswatini, this cave preserved microscopic traces of grass bedding dating back at least 200,000 years. Researchers found plant remains concentrated toward the back of the shelter, exactly where people appear to have built comfortable sleeping and resting surfaces. Much of that grass sat directly on layers of ash, and the pattern repeats often enough that researchers think people deliberately placed bedding over it. The likely reason is practical. Fine ash can clog up the breathing systems of ticks and other small crawling insects, soak up moisture, and make it harder for pests to move around. In other words, the oldest known mattress we know of may have come with built-in pest control. Researchers also found tiny fragments of camphor bush wood mixed into the bedding, a plant known for aromatic compounds that can repel insects. Nobody can prove for certain why those branches were there. Fuel, accidental debris, or an intentional prehistoric bug spray are all possible. The insects, unfortunately, were not available for comment. Border Cave also contained burned grass and charred material, suggesting old sleeping surfaces were periodically destroyed on purpose, clearing out waste and killing pests before laying down a fresh layer. This wasn't housekeeping in any modern decorative sense, but it was repeated, deliberate management of a living space, which is a surprisingly sophisticated behavior for something this old. A second site, Sibudu Cave in South Africa, makes the pattern even clearer. Around 77,000 years ago, people there built bedding from sedges and broad-leafed grasses, some topped with leaves from a tree called Cryptocarya woodii, whose natural chemicals can kill or repel insects. By roughly 58,000 years ago, bedding at Sibudu was being burned on a regular basis, likely as routine camp maintenance. Archaeologists found multiple compacted layers of plant material, ash, and everyday debris, showing the shelter floor was repeatedly rebuilt and refreshed over time. These sites can't give us a complete picture of a prehistoric bedroom. Hides, wooden frames, and anything else organic mostly didn't survive. But the grass alone is enough to completely overturn the image of ancient humans just passing out on bare stone. 200,000 years ago, people were already choosing sleeping spots, laying down plant material, using ash, managing insects, and cleaning old bedding with fire. They didn't sleep without beds. They slept without furniture stores. What we can't know for certain is whether ancient humans all slept the exact same way, in 2 separate blocks with a quiet waking period in between, the way some later historical records describe. Those records don't prove every prehistoric group followed that same pattern, since sleep is shaped by climate, season, daily workload, danger, and culture, just as much biology. What we do know is that sleeping in a group likely created natural, overlapping windows of alertness without anyone assigning a formal watch schedule. And once sleeping on the ground became safer, sleep stopped being just a biological shutdown. It became something social. A camp at night wasn't only a pile of tired bodies. It was warmth, protection, caregiving, and shared information, all happening at once, gathered in one place because fire was useful, and because everyone else was already gathered there too. That closeness came with real responsibility. Fires needed feeding. Children needed calming. Every strange noise needed someone to figure out if it was wind, an animal, or just a relative coming back from an unnecessarily dramatic bathroom trip. Nighttime likely deepened cooperation in a way daylight hunting never could, because after dark, movement got harder, and the group pulled in closer together, which made space for conversation, teaching, and storytelling. Those stories weren't just entertainment. They preserved real, useful information. Dangerous animals, seasonal plants, water sources, past mistakes, in a form far easier to remember than a formal warning label ever could be. As shelters became more permanent, sleeping spaces became more structured. Floors got cleaned and resurfaced. Hearths were placed with intention. Raised platforms kept bodies off damp, pest-covered ground. But the most important invention here was never really the mattress. It was trust. Sleeping beside other people means surrendering your awareness completely, betting that the people around you won't hurt you, abandon you, or let something dangerous walk into camp while you're unconscious. Every shared sleeping space was a small act of trust, renewed every single night. Long before humans built cities, they were already practicing civilization in the dark, keeping the fire alive and keeping each other alive right along with it. Today, most of us sleep in climate-controlled rooms on engineered foam, under weighted blankets, next to a phone charging like some tiny beacon for a problem that doesn't actually exist. And yet the old logic never really left. We still build nests. We arrange pillows, pick a side of the bed, adjust the temperature, block out light, check the locks, and keep familiar objects close by. Some people need total silence. Others need a fan, rain sounds, or the low hum of an appliance quietly running. These habits feel modern, but they're following an old pattern. Control the environment, then surrender control of your body. That's what a bed actually is. Not just furniture, but permission to become vulnerable. Our ancestors built that permission out of grass, ash, fire, shelter, and each other. We built it out of door locks, curtains, thermostats, and an unreasonable number of decorative pillows. The materials changed completely. The problem never did. So ancient humans didn't sleep without beds. Not really. Not in the way we usually picture it. They slept without bed frames, mattress brands, and 12-month financing plans. They still prepared their sleeping spaces. They still maintained them. They still protected each other while lying completely unconscious and defenseless, night after night, for hundreds of thousands of years. And somewhere along that impossibly long chain of nights, it became so ordinary that we completely forgot how extraordinary it actually is. Every single night, you close your eyes and trust the entire world not to hurt you for the next several hours. That's a genuinely remarkable act. So the next time you sink into memory foam, adjust your cooling pillow, and complain that the mattress feels slightly too firm, remember exactly where this all started. A pile of grass with surprisingly excellent marketing potential.